This is Mr. Bwadi again. If you remember properly, we did the introduction to operating systems. So now under the introduction to operating system, we talked about different types of operating system. We defined what an operating system and also what makes up an operating system. We just did the introductory part, but today we'll be going now into details to explain more now what each function, each type of an operating system, what it does, the advantages and also the disadvantages. So now let's dig in now to the today's lesson. So now, like we introduced earlier, we said an operating system, or which is usually abbreviated as the OS, is a software program that enables the computer hardware to communicate and operate with the computer software. So now when you talk of the hardware part, meaning we are talking about the physical components of the computer, the things that make up a computer. And also when you talk of the software part, meaning we are simply talking about programs that work in collaboration with the hardware part. So now an OS is responsible for the management and coordination of activities and the sharing of the resources of the computer. So coordination of activities, meaning you're simply talking about the things that the computer does at once. So now the operating system, it also acts as a host for computing applications that are run on the machine. As a host, one of the purposes of an operating system is to handle the details of the operation of the hardware. This relieves application programs from having to manage these details and makes it easier to write applications. So now when we're looking at operating systems, this is a software, and under the types of software we've got two types. We've got the system and also the application software. So the system software, we'll talk about it in the next lecture, but this time we'll just do just the introduction to the same system software. And also the application software, meaning the applications, these are programs that are meant specifically to perform specific tasks. For example, Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word, most we just use it for editing, designing and all those. We cannot use Microsoft Word to play music. But we can use the VO, for example, the VLC, the media player, to play music or a video. That one is meant specifically for that. We cannot use the VLC to open a Word document or any PDF document. So let's make progress. So now if you look at here, this yellow, the one which is looking like a robot, this is a type of software, an operating software that is mostly used on phones, Android phones. Then this one here, the one which has got four colors, it has got red, green, blue and yellow. So this is representing the Microsoft Windows operating systems. So and then under the same Microsoft Windows operating systems, we've got examples such as Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10. This time now, this year, the Windows 11 was recently released on the market. Okay, then this one, the penguin, it is representing the Linux operating systems. Examples of Linux operating systems are, we've got Fedora, Linux Mint, we've got Ubuntu, Kali Linux, just to mention a few. Okay, then the Apple is also the other type of an operating system. So now we can now go to the functions of an operating system. So having defined what an operating system is, let us now talk about the functions, what each does. So now the first one we are saying processor management. So this one basically is an assignment of a processor to different tasks that are being performed by the computer system. Okay. The second one, an operating system is responsible for memory management. So under the memory management, this is where now the allocation of the main memory and other storage areas to the system programs, as well as user programs and data. Next, we have input and output management. So the input, basically these are devices that we connect to the computer, such as the keyboard, the mouse, and also the output. These are devices that gives us the final output. Like for example, when you're typing something, you're able to see what you are typing on the screen. So meaning this screen here, which we usually call the monitor, it's giving us the output or the feedback. Okay, we can also talk about the file management. So file management, we're saying the storage and transfer of files of various storage devices to another. So it also allows all files to be exchanged easily and modified through the use of text editors or some other files manipulations. So now don't worry about the text editors. Will be able to demonstrate how they work, and also you'll be able to see how they work so that you understand. Okay, move on. So the other one we are seeing establishment and enforcement of a priority system automatic transitions. Okay, so interpretation of commands and instructions. So the commands and instructions that we're talking about here, these are instructions basically that are given by the user. Like you command the computer what you want it to do. If you want it to play music, it can do that on its own, but it needs the user interaction. Then when you talk of the coordination and assignment of compilers, assemblers, utility programs, and other software to the various user of the computer system, facilitates easy communication between the computer system and computer operator. So the computer operator we're referring to, in this case, it is the human and not the robot. So it also establishes data security and integrity. So I'll be able to talk about the security part and also the integrity part in a different direction. Right, so we move on. So now when you look at this Venn diagram here, it's got the user 1, user 2, and also the user n. So these, they are accessing what? The software. So under the software here, we've got what we are calling the system softwares and also the application softwares. So in this lecture, we'll talk much about the system software and also the application softwares. So the system software and also the application, there's also an operating system, and then after the operating system, that's why now we have the hardware part. So the hardware, have got the CPU, which is the central processing unit, and also the RAM, which basically stands for random access memory. Then this IO, this is the input output devices. Okay, so now we continue with the functions of our operating system. So tasks of the operating system. So if you look at this, the other diagram here, the one where there's even a computer, so it's got different tasks, the operating system, that's why. So it has simplified almost all the functions that we've talked about just using this picture here. Okay, so now the first one we are saying, it recognizes and installs peripheral devices, manages files and folders. On what files and folders are, we'll be able to learn how to make one, delete, and also edit a folder and a file. Okay, so we've got shares out system memory, handles system errors, and alerts user. So this part is an example that can be given where it's saying it handles system errors and alerts users. Okay, for example, if maybe you're using a flash, you plug something into your computer, then that maybe, let's say there are viruses in that flash disk. So the computer, because of the antivirus which is in the computer, which is installed, if there's no antivirus which is installed, an operating system comes with an antivirus, which we call Windows Defender. So the Windows Defender in this case will be able to notify the user that, okay, no, it has identified some viruses and it will ask the user to take actions, that is now scanning and fixing all the viruses that have been detected. Okay, so we move on to the next one. We're saying manages system security. So this is now the security part. An operating system is responsible for that. So you see now how important this operating system is. Without an operating system, meaning we can't do all, nothing can be done here. Okay, so it allows software to communicate with hardware. So they're able to communicate. You plug in something to the computer is able to respond using an operating system. So it moves data to and from the hard disk, so you're able to get data from the external disk, and also you can able to transfer data into so loads and runs other software applications. It also handles imports and outputs. So that's basically most of the functions of an operating system. Yeah. Okay. Progress. Let's now talk about the types of operating systems that are there. So having talked about the functions of an operating system, let us also now look at the types of operating systems that are there. So now the first operating system we are saying, it is called the batch operating system. So now in a batch processing operating system, the prime concern is the CPU, the central processing unit efficiency. So the batch processing system, it operates in a strict one job at a time manner within a job. So it executes the programs one after another. So it follows that order. So when you open, maybe you open wait, you open VLC here, so for it to open those programs, they'll be processed in that order, starting with the first one, second one, and also up to the last one. So that's what basically this statement means here. Okay, so only one program is under execution at any time. It cannot process more than one program at that particular time. Yes. So the opportunity to enhance CPU efficiency is limited to efficiently initiating the next program when one program ends. Okay, and the next job when one job ends, so that the CPU does not remain idle. So it follows that logical order. So with this type of operating system, you do not interact directly with the computer system. So now the batch system, one of the advantages of using the batch operating system is that it is useful when working with large files, which can take more time to be executed. Okay, so now concerning the types of operating system, especially the first one, the batch operating system, you can leave the question. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. The questions will be able to be answered. Okay, we move on to the type of operating system, which is the real-time operating system. Okay, so now the operating system has to cater for the type of real-time system being used. So the three types are given here, no doubt. So the first one, we're saying these systems are characterized by having time as a key parameter. For example, in industry process control system, real-time computers have to collect data about the production process and use it to control machines in the factory. There are hard deadlines that must be made. For example, if a car is moving down an assembly line, certain actions must take place at certain instant of time. If a welding robot welds too early or too late, the car will be ruined. If the action absolutely must occur at a certain moment or within a certain range. Okay, so now if you've got again any questions concerning the real-time operating systems, when we meet in person, we'll be able to demonstrate and we'll be able to understand more concerning the different types of operating systems that we have. Okay, so there's a diagram here to simplify this type of operating system, the real-time operating system. So this is the real-time operating system. For real-time, we've got applications, Then RTOS, it simply stands for real-time operating system. Then also the custom hardware. We continue looking at the different types of operating systems that we have. Okay, we've got also what is called the distributed operating system. When many computers are interconnected to each other through a network for the purpose of sharing their tasks, then this is called the distributed operating system. So you know what it means to interconnect to each other through a network, meaning they are connected to one network. Different more than 3 computers connected to different computers. Okay, we move on now to the next one, which is time sharing operating system. So the time sharing operating system works with time sharing concept. So here the CPU will provide a same time period to each and every process to complete its task as soon as possible, whether it is long or short. So it assigns, each task is assigned time, like equal times. We go to single program systems. So now the majority of small microcomputer based systems, they are operating systems which allow a single user to operate the machine in an interactive conversational mode, but normally only allows one user program to be in main storage and processed at a time. This means that there is no much programming of user programs under the single program system. Move on to the next one, simple batch systems. So the simple batch system is also another type of operating system. So these are systems that they provide multi-programming of batch programs but have few facilities for interactions or multi-access. Many commercial computer systems used during in 1960s and early 1970s were of this type. So now when we meet, we would be able to talk about now, to even demonstrate now how the simple batch system looks like, and also its functions, advantages, also talk about the disadvantages. As we know, to everything the advantages and also the disadvantages. So now we want to talk about the advantages and also the disadvantages, also which one outweighs the other. Move on. So we go to multi-access and time sharing systems. So the majority of operating systems, they fall into this category, but again you have to know that there is a wide range of complexity in the systems. On to the next one, the server operating systems. So the server operating system, as the name appears here, the server, meaning we're simply talking about those operating systems that are specifically used for the server. So they run on servers which are either very large personal computers, workstations, or even mainframe computers. So I'm sure you can remember something on the different types of computers, where you find the personal computers, even mainframe computers, supercomputers, and so they serve multiple users at once over a network and allow the users to share hardware and software resources. So servers can provide print service, file service, or web services. For example, if an institution has got one network and also one server, there will be and also one printer. All the computers which are connected, they will be able to print using that one computer. So for this one, we'll be able to demonstrate how it's done. So the internet providers, they run many server machines to support their customers and websites. Use servers to store the web pages and also handle the incoming requests. So typical server operating system are Unix and also Windows 2000. So Linux is also gaining ground for servers in this generation. Okay, let's make progress. So now we've got two types of operating systems here. The example for this one, the Microsoft, where you're able to see this logo which has got 4 colors. we are saying there's more security threats due to widespread use. Several standard versions, they are easy to use. The Microsoft Windows operating systems, you would agree with me that they are very easy to use. They are not like Linux, which requires a lot of commands. So closed source fat file systems, better security with a great community. So now I'll be able to demonstrate this during practicals, where we'll be able now to install the Microsoft Windows operating system, and also any Linux operating system, either Ubuntu, Fedora, Kali Linux, or any, so long it's Linux. But to be able now to differentiate between the two. We go to personal computer operating systems. So the personal computer operating system, as the name suggests, meaning these are personal. For example, so to provide a good interface to a single user, so they are widely used for word processing. So we all know what word processing, spreadsheets, and internet access is. So word processing and spreadsheet, mostly they come as a package in the Microsoft Office. So, and we've got different versions. We've got 2007, 2010, 2013, 2016, 2019, this time there's even 2020, 2021 Microsoft Office. So it comes as a package. It contains word processing, spreadsheets, access, publisher, and so on and so forth, and internet access. So on the internet part, to be able to talk about the internet part in a different lecture. So the common examples are Windows 98, Windows 2000, and Macintosh operating system, and also Linux. Linux was given examples under Linux. That way I said there is Kali Linux, Ubuntu operating systems, Elementary, Fedora. Yeah. So when we talk of the personal computer operating systems, we are saying they are widely known, that probably little introduction is needed. In fact, many people are not even aware that other kinds also do exist in this generation. We've got also what we call the multiprocessor operating system. So an increasingly common way to get major rig computing power is to connect multiple CPUs into a single system, depending on precisely how they are connected and what is shared. So these systems, they are called parallel computers, multi-computer, or multiprocessor computers. Okay. So they need special operating systems, but often these are variations on the same operating systems with special features for communication and also connectivity. Okay. So this marks the end of